Oh, I have to tell about Josephine Baker.
Yes,
I
please.
adore.
Oh, yes. Your time in
Coming
Europe.
back to the French.
Yes.
The key to Baker was the French like everything new, like everything original. They like pure. They like the pure Chinese. They like the pure Indian work. They're a set of aesthetics.
Because they're such great supporters of the arts.
The arts.
No matter who you
Who
are.
you are.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
you get the 30s. What was the fashion? What was the food? Who were the writers? Hemingway. Who were the painters? Picasso. Who was doing this? Who was doing what? Paris was jumping after World War I. The music was in the air. The music was jazz. Who brought it there? Louis Armstrong and all those wonderful people. Huey Blake. Josephine Baker doing the new dance, the Charleston. Charleston is to liberate the body. People were in their corsets all that time, and they had released that corset, so they had no bras. So when they do the shimmy, everything moved. When the Charleston is for the body jump. Here is this lady, a skin to die for, and an effervescent personality. When Josephine Baker smiled, it was a light bulb.
Yes.
I mean, and she's doing this dance. They went crazy. It's a new. Josephine Baker was to them a whole culture. She was Harlem.
To the French.
To the French. She was Harlem, and Harlem does not exist any other part of the world but in New York City. And to them, that's it. That's the music, that's the black music. The French intellectualized jazz. We call it
Unlike here.
we call it jungle music, and we took it for granted. Hey, hey, they took it. They heard Stravinsky in jazz.
And they still do, don't they?
You understand? They heard Debussy in Duke Ellington. And they put it on that level. So they put Baker on a pedestal. And there in France, when you're on a pedestal, you don't get down. She was performing there with white chorus boys. And white people, black and white in the great. Lena Horne couldn't touch Frank Sinatra's hand to sing a duet in the 50s.
Therein lies the difference.
That's the difference.
Did you befriend Josephine Baker?
Josephine Baker, bless her heart. I was writing articles when I met her because my brother knew her. My brother Bosco worked with her in the south of France, and she was his idol. And she came here, and I was going to do an article on her, and the man said, one woman named Shirley here said, "Why aren't you in the show?" I said, "In the show? Nobody asked me." "You mind if I call her?" So she called Mr. Kralberg, and Mr. Kralberg says, "Come now, I want to see you." I went to see Mr. Kralberg. He said, "How much do you want?" I said, "How much do I want?" I said, "What is scale?" Someone said, "Well, give me $100 more than scale. I'll do it." So I got there, and I did a reverse striptease. And I worked with Josephine, and she was deep. When she came, it was very moving. I saw her at Carnegie Hall before, and Josephine Baker, with all of her eyelashes out her hair and that wonderful smile, came down in a red dress, halter dress, and the audience, all those people in Harlem dressed up to see Josephine Baker. Ladies turned it out. They weren't wearing hats, they wore blonde wigs, and they scrubbed the floors and what have you, but they're going to see Josephine Baker, their queen. They dressed to pay tribute to Josephine Baker. That brought tears to my eyes.
It must have.
And Josephine Baker came down Carnegie Hall, and Carnegie Hall looks very dreary at the time, the khaki. The stage is so bilgy, beige. She was in a red dress. And in singing, she bumped into the flag on the stage. And she kept her back to the audience, singing this whole song to the flag.
Whoa.
That's a heavy statement because of this was way after the drama with Winchell.
Yes.
And she was singing to America. She is high theater. Now, she's from the School of Music Hall, where it's another kind of performing that she takes everything and she uses everything.
And she's a great dramatic actress, too. I've seen her in drama.
Fabulous.
Yes.
And then I told that to Mr. Kronberg, you know, what she did. He said, oh, tell him, Holder, what I did. So she had an ally in me, and we hit off like nobody's business. So what happened, Bruno Kirkpatrick said, I'm taking Josephine Baker back to Paris. Carmen had joined the show. Now here, you talk about star.
Oh.
Josephine Baker, her eyes have bags down here. She has all these sequins on her eyes, making it up. And, like, oh, beautiful. Put on the makeup, what have you. I said, Miss Baker, my wife is going to be in the show, and I'm designing 2 dresses for her. One is in pink, and one is in white. She's pouting. She said, Holder, why do you say that? I said, well, Miss Baker, you're the star, and I want you to know what she's going to wear. She said, well, I can always change my wardrobe. So I designed this dress for Carmen. She said, Holder, she needs more crystals, more for French. Telling me how to dress Carmen. Carmen is younger than Josephine, body to die for. She's not Josephine Baker and pretty. You would think this lady would be envious. No. We opened, Bruno Kirkpatrick came and she said, I would not go to Paris unless I take Geoffrey Holder and Carmen de la Barre. So we went. Opening night in the dressing room at the Olympia, Carmen had a quick change. And the dressing room was only flowers. They thought Josephine Baker had died because it was only flowers. So she said, Carmen, you could share my dressing room to make a quick change. So Carmen put a little vanity case in the corner. And she tells Carmen, Paris is going to love you tonight like they loved me 40 years ago. I can't go on like this. I need somebody to take my place.
What a beautiful sharing lady.
Thank you. Thank you. Now that is a star.